we are all putting on our own little show.
Right.
So I don't know. I've been taking various social media breaks over the past few months, and I find my brain like being really affected by the quiet moments. Like it's recovering. Like it's not used to the quietness, so it's almost creating. Like I don't know. I've had some really weirds of my brain just spinning out, and I'm like, what's going on? I think it's just actually trying to process and catch up to. I don't know. People that are much smarter than me that study the brain would know exactly what's going on. But I think after a few days of a social media detox, I start to feel like really refreshed. And I just think we're just so plugged in, man. It's a little unnecessary to be so plugged in, and even the interactions with people that we don't even know. I find myself interacting with people that I'll probably never even meet, and I don't necessarily know if that's the greatest thing. It can
affect the people who are directly in front of us, right? Don't you agree? Like, we're not enjoying the people who are necessarily in front of us because, you know.
Yeah, why not be present, right? Like, why if I'm hanging out with you, why am I picking up my phone and seeing what other people are doing?
Right. But then there's a part of that is actually, you know, helpful too, because you're getting inspiration, you know, like I look on Instagram and I find that I get inspired a lot of times too. So there's both sides of like, if I'm seeing someone else do really cool stuff, I'm like, man, that's inspiring. I want to go do some cool stuff.
Yeah. I think it's just finding the correct balance but you happen to be, you know, I think you're very aware, right? So a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of that, the balance, trying to find a balance. So I think that's the biggest thing is being intentional is what I was trying to say. Being intentional about what you are using it for. Essentially, you're on Instagram right now, and because you have a very intentional reason. You want to talk about anxiety, you want to talk about helping people, etc. That's a very intentional aspect. It's not just like a brainless way to be on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just like finding inspiration, etc. But being aware, like, okay, well, this could go downhill very quickly. So, but being aware of the pitfalls, I guess, of it.
Right. Wow.
Have you been, you know, struggling with any kind of anxiety lately?
No, but I was just watching something and it was talking about how, you know, we post stuff sometimes. I was starting to think whether I'm like, man, is my posting all of this, like, stuff that like, all of our accomplishments, like, is that more discouraging for people or encouraging? Because you got people who are like, man, look at what Justin's doing, and, like, what am I doing?
Absolutely.
And
you felt that way?
So, like, my intention is to, like, yo, look what's possible. Like, I'm from a small town in Canada, and I'm living my dreams, and it's, you know, this is pretty awesome, and I don't want that to turn into, like, somebody, you know, living in their small town, like, yo, I you know, and just feel discouraged because they're like, man, look at Justin's doing it, I'm not doing it, I wish I was doing it, I can't do it, rather than feeling encouraged by that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You're just empathetic. So, you know, I think everybody's going to receive everything a little different, and it's tough to kind of, I totally get what you're saying. You want to be an encouragement rather than a discouragement. We've all been there before.
Right. So I think maybe, I don't know, like, I've been trying to not necessarily make sure everything's super dialed in, like, as far as, like, perfection. Like, I think one thing about, like, the Seasons documentary is it showed me kind of in a really messy season. And I think, like, what can be tricky about Instagram is that, or social media in general, is that it shows people's best and, like, hides all of the other stuff. So it's like people, you're kind of confused because all of you see is, you know, all of this really dialed in stuff, and you're just like, man, you know.
Absolutely. So you felt that before from looking at other people's
Definitely.
posts, you've actually felt that. So you know that perhaps that's having the same effect on other people.
Exactly.
But
then I know there are some people who are like, man, you make it feel like I can do anything too. So there's both sides of the coin.
It's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
So you that's just the reality of just how I think an empathetical, somebody who's aware of others is thinking.
Yeah, thank you,
It's just
bro.
you're just thinking about everybody and just trying to help people